Okay, so tell me a little bit about the experience that you had while you were there.
Like I was saying before, some of it was educational, some of it was comical, because once you go through those experiences, you never forget them.
Right.
And you see these guys one time, but you never see them again the rest of your life. Uh, the ratio between black and white, it was more blacks going to the service who was qualified that had, I wouldn't say a real high IQ, because you have to take tests to go in there, see what you
Okay.
qualified. They didn't take no every John that's walking off the street. They
Oh.
went through young, educated, black high school kids that's coming out of high school, don't have no experience or nothing.
Right.
All right, so we had to, you had to be educated, and the ratio was, I say, like 5 to 1 of blacks over whites in there, because blacks at that time didn't have too much of an opportunity to advance unless they went to school.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said, I choose the service. You have some prejudices. Some of the drill sergeants calling you boy, using profanity at you, which you never heard before.
Right.
Telling you to do certain things that you wouldn't make your own children do, but you have to do it. You would get mad because at that time, you already been suppressed down south with whites being quote over top of you, ruling everything. But once you got in there, you hate somebody to tell you to do anything,
Right.
especially a white person. You know, been suppressed so long,
Right.
especially coming in and he gonna tell me what to do, but I have to go along with it because I signed the contract. Right. They made us do certain things that we didn't want to do, but we had to do it. But we had to stick together, whether you white or black,
Okay.
because it wasn't going to work if you didn't pull as a team. If somebody's slacking, everybody paid off. Had to suffer for it.
Okay.
So we had some disparity with blacks. I had some run-in with some white people and my superiors, but I knew that this wasn't going to last forever. So I might as well suck it up, go about my business. I met a whole lot of white guys. They're friends of mine. Matter of fact, I got one just now today is a friend of mine right now. Matter of fact, he lives right here on North and Smallwood Avenue, right in Baltimore. But you did what you had to do. They had the power, so we had to go along with it.
Right.
That's all.
So did you feel you were treated equally?
Yeah, we were treated equally because we were all dressed up in the same uniform.
Okay.
But they would if you were not fulfilling your duty, they would come down on you, which is natural because
Right.
if you was in a situation that you had to do your part and you didn't fulfill your part, somebody might have got hurt or somebody might have got killed. So everybody had to be focused on what their job, this specific job was, and to carry out their job for us to work as a team.
Okay. So how did they train y'all? How did
Oh.
they train?
We ran. You had to run a mile under 6 minutes. If you didn't run a mile under 6 minutes, they would fail you. Had to try it again. We had a certain amount of push-ups. We had what they call, what people in the world call calisthenics. They call them gorilla drills, where you had to crawl on your belly
Are you
through
serious?
mud. They had gunfire over top of our head, machine gun fire, no more than 12 inches over top of our head. We had to crawl on the barbed wire fence. We had to train at night. Couldn't sleep. It was called, we had a lot of sleep deprivation.
Okay.
Where this is how they was going on and try to mold us, because you had to be alert. We would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, eat chow, go through our monkey bars, do our little training and everything, do our calisthenics and everything in the morning. We'd be gone until 5 o'clock that afternoon. We had bayonet training, hand-to-hand combat. We had a lot of classroom instruction, how to throw grenades. Took us to the firing range. They took us to the pugilistic kit, pit where they learned us hand-to-hand combat. Basically, my MOS or my field was infantry,
Okay.
and they trained you to kill. The reason is that they trained us to kill before they killed us.
Right.
So they took us to marches, to swamps, live hand grenade, camouflage, clearing a building, booby traps, stuff like that, because this is what we would see when we got older, because it's not an environment that we didn't even know. So that's why they had us deprived of sleep, because you have to pay attention. That's the key. Had to pay attention, because you didn't pay attention, that's when somebody would get hurt or get killed.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't need, if somebody slacked up, we had to get on them. Because they look, you might have to save my life one day. I might have to save yours. And they wanted to deprive us of sleep to make sure that we was alert. You may fall asleep talking about, I'm hungry, I'm sleepy. No. You have to stay on your P's and Q's. Because if you didn't pay attention or stay alert, that's a bad recipe for you getting killed for a man.
Okay. So, when you came back home, was it hard or easy for you to adjust from being over there, being
No,
away
not
from
really.
home?
Not really, because the veterans that been there, they was considered not heroes, because during that time the war was not favorable. You know, we didn't win nothing.
Okay.
What they did, they had peace treaty and we withdraw from there.
Okay.
Okay. So we wasn't considered as heroes. We were considered like baby killers. They spat on you. This was the early part of the 70s and late 60s, see. But they was coming out because the war was winding down. And the only thing you had to fall back on was your high school education. So in other words, where could you find a job out there throwing hand grenades and shooting machine guns in the real world? But this was just the world that I was in as they trained us. So the point is that you needed to have an education. So we did have our GI Bill, which was set up to send us to college when we get out, give us a step up.
Okay, that's good.
It was something called CLEP. It's called a College Level Examination Preparatory Program, which they would go on and give us the aptitude test, see where you were qualified to be in this program. Because the VA had this bill set up for all the veterans who wanted to, further their education when they came out. That if they wasn't physically or psychological or mentally messed up, from some people just couldn't take the stress of somebody telling them what to do. So I choose to keep my nose clean, follow the rules, suck it up, because there was prejudice.
Right.
And not let it get to me. I said, well, I'm going to beat this up, but I'm going to school.
Right.
But it wasn't hard. It was hard when you first got it because you had to adjust coming back home. Who you miss, this person not there, trying to find a job. And by you being infantry, you didn't really have no experience, no way.
Right.
So I had to try to find something to go to, get some type of training. Because you're not the one, only job you had was a laborer.
Okay.
And you wasn't making no money. Would you believe that when I came out of there, that was my first job as a laborer, making $4.25 an hour.
And what were you doing?
Carrying bricks, shoveling dirt, mixing cement,
Okay.
We would do all the backbreaking work. Then you had the bricklayers who had the education making 3 times as much as we
More
were
what you was
making.
making.
So you had to put that in your mind. Look, hey, I can do what
They
he's
don't
doing.
want.
All right, that set me up. Say, this ain't for me. That's why the GI Bill was there. Use it.
Okay.
See? A lot of people had all that information and asset to them, but they failed to use it. Some people turned to drugs. Some people turned to alcohol. Some people just couldn't handle it. They just went
Okay.
homeless. But I failed to let that stress of being black, educated but not qualified,
Right.
stop me from what I wanted to do. So it was hard, but I grasped on. You know, I went to college.
Okay.
I went to trade school. And it still was hard to break that ceiling
Right.
to get back into the workforce when you never been in the workforce because you was entry level.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to just hire you. Because nobody want to hire you just because they're going to work you to death. I want to have somebody that's smart.
Does have experience.
Right.
and all that.
And maybe sometimes they had jobs, they say, well, I was overqualified. So, you know, you did,
Right.
you didn't, but I wasn't going to let them stop me from furthering my education, what I wanted to do.
Okay. So how long were you there though?
All together 15 years.
That's a long time.
15 years of
Okay.
somebody telling me when to go to bed, when to wake up. But when I think back on it, it's been an experience that I'll never forget.
Right.
Never forget. It's going to take me to my grave, but it was some things that were, you know, I sit there sometimes think about it and I reminisce, and something funny will come through my mind, and I know where it came from back in that time. Well, I wish sometime that I could turn the clock back and change things that I see was an injustice.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, when I left basic training at Fort Jackson, I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and it was a whole new experience. That was the first time being on an airplane. Out in the only neighborhood you knew was in South Carolina and Baltimore, which is my real home. But they took us out to the Midwest. I ain't know nothing about no Oklahoma. I know Oklahoma was the only thing on the map. I know where it was on the map, but I never been there.
Right.
And they have a lot of, you see right now in the news today, we have a lot of tornadoes and everything like that. That's why they call it Tornado Alley.
Okay.
Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, places like that. Well, that's where I was stationed at. Matter of fact, I can recollect. It's been so hot one day, like it's been 95 degrees at 12 o'clock, and at 2:30 it's 32 degrees. How the temperature dropped. Front come from the north, and it starts snowing. Yeah, so it's a whole new experience like that. But when I left Fort Sill and went to Germany, now this is when the racial problems start coming in. You in Europe. It's not a lot of black people in Europe.
I wouldn't imagine that
It's
it
not a
is.
lot of black people in Europe. That's one strike against you. 2, you got your superiors telling you what to do, where to go, because you don't have a choice. You either can go do what you got to do there, or you can mess up and they can keep you there. Like prison, stuff like that, if you mess
Really?
up. Or kick you out.
Okay.
Yeah. If you do anything unlawful. Then you had the language barrier. Some people just can barely speak English.
Right.
But here we speak in German.
So y'all were speaking
We had to
German?
learn, we had to go to school to learn German, like Guten Morgen, Wiedersehen, Fricken Sie Deutsch, and which means Guten Abend means good evening, Guten Morgen means good morning, Wiedersehen means goodbye. And it was just enough to get us by,
Okay.
because we might have to be one day out in the town on our time off, and they be talking to us, and we had to understand what they were saying. It wasn't all that hard. You know, the disparity wasn't that hard, but it was something to learn.
Right.
But when I got there, the ratio was, I said one time, like 5 to 1. When I got there, I was like, the ratio was 1 black out of 10 people.
Dang.
They had to have their token, which was me or any other black person. I was a new recruit just coming overseas and had to learn the rope. But they had the upper hand on me because they knew the ropes. I didn't know nothing because I was
Right.
green. And I had people call me nigger, which didn't set too tough with me because I let them know what I was coming from. If you see one, won't you smack one? Didn't have too many problems. But see, you can talk to them by themselves, or you can have somebody that can be a witness
Okay.
to the discrimination they were calling you and everything, right? But when I got them to myself, oh, it wasn't no problem at all.
I bet it was.
But see, you gotta be wise about things like that too. So it's a certain way how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
You either can follow the rules or go by the book, or you can just throw the book out the window. Take care of yourself.
So which one did you do?
I followed the rules because I didn't want to get in no trouble, and that would be marked on my record.
Okay.
Because everything you do is marked on your record, it will follow you the rest of your life. When you get out, they will look at certain parts of your record. Were you a criminal? Were you a bad person in the service? Were you a good egg? Were you a good soldier in there? And they said, well, that will give you a good reputation right there when you get out. So the best thing to do, like I said, was you under their jurisdiction. Follow the rule, keep your nose clean, do what they tell you have to do your time, get out.
Okay. Okay. So did you suffer from like postpartum after being there so long?
A lot of
you
people
got
call
back
it
home?
post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Okay. Traumatic.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD. I wouldn't say I really suffered. I was introduced to racism
Okay.
because I've seen it when I was growing up in South Carolina, where you couldn't walk the street. You had to pick cotton, crop tobacco, stuff like that. And I thought it was okay at that time. As you got older, you seen what really was going on.
Mm-hmm.
The picture was even bigger. You couldn't spit on the sidewalk. What you do that for, boy? But as you got older, you seen how they suppressed us. But that gave me the more incentive to do what I had to do.
Right.
Go to school and prove them wrong. Prove them that I'm just as equal as you are.
Right.
So just because you have a higher rank than I am, we wear the same color uniform, we had different skin, that don't make you no smarter than me.
Right.
I've seen it. I dealt with it. A lot of people couldn't deal with segregation, but I dealt with it in my way. Some people choose to fight back at it.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to see it as it was and try to change it. Because he's no different. He bled the same color I bleed.
Right.
So what makes you better than me? He just probably had a higher education than I had. And he probably had been there longer. He had more time. Because there wasn't no advancement in rank. That means the little money they was giving you, they wasn't going to give you more rank to make more money. They were trying to keep you right there as a token level person. But if you prove that you were smart, and you don't let people walk over you or tell you just anything, for you to do anything, they see that you had the initiative. They see that, oh, he wants something.
Okay.
And that's the route I took. Because I hate for somebody to be standing over top of me, try to suppress me.
Right.
And I know that he's no smarter than I am. Nah, wasn't going to work. But I dealt with it. And that was the adjustment getting there. After I got there and I established myself, who I am, how I am, what I'm here for, what my job duty, what my specification for me to do, that's all matter of fact, I pulled them and we had meetings. I said, look, let me tell you something. I came over here to do a job. I didn't come over here to get ridiculed. I didn't come over here to be called names. Uncle Sam got me here to do a job, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm only here for a little time.
Right.
Once my time is up, I'm going back home. Whatever y'all feel like y'all want to do on your own time, it's up to y'all, but not with me. And that's what a lot of guys felt when we were there. We here to do a job and do our time and go home.
Okay.
And that was the main basis. Do our time, do our job, and the main focus to get back home because it's a long way from across that Atlantic Ocean up there. That's 3,000 miles. But when I left, we had the same training we had here, but it was more difficult. Matter of fact, I was at a place called Berchtesgaden that was in East Germany, where Adolf Hitler was at. Right. It's still standing right now. At that time, it was still East Germany and West Germany. You had to have your rank, signature, your name, everything had to be in line in order for you to check your passes to go through this gate and everything. I've been in the Black Forest. I've been to Hitler's castle. It was a nice country, beautiful country, but it was kind of funny that you had more racism in the ranks in the service than you had outside when you mingled with the German people. They didn't care what color you were. They didn't care that you didn't really speak no English. They were real friendly people.
Okay.
But it was just some bad apples in the service that still are prejudiced.
And this was inside like your ranking company?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whether you know it or not, I had some gay captains. I don't care he was gay. That's his sexual preference. I don't care. Only thing he would do is give me order. I would have to follow the order, but if I feel in my heart that it was something that wasn't benefiting me, I wouldn't do it. Sometimes you had to go by your first instinct.
So what would happen if you didn't do it?
They will court-martial you. The little bit of money you did have, they would take $75, $50, $100, or sometimes take your whole pay. Or they would take a strike from you. They would demote you. Like, that's going to degrade me. I'm here for a short time.
Right.
I'm here to do a job. When I get out the service, I'm not going to be a sergeant outside the service. So this is within the compounds of my means while in the service. So I just went along with the program.
Okay.
That's what you had to do if you wanted to survive.
Okay. So now, all these years later, thinking back, like, would you still do it? Like, would you still? But I know you said earlier you didn't have a choice to enlist, but like, do you think?
If I had, if all these years, I recollect, I think back, I would do it all over again.
You would?
Oh yeah. The opportunity is so, whew. They have so many different fields you can go in. I'm talking about, you can go into clerical, human resources, dental. You can go into administrative. You can go into psychology, sociology. You can go in all these other jobs that you can use when you get out. At that time, wasn't nowhere near.
Right.
Even had florists. To be a florist, be a cashier, or you work in the cleaners, all these different fields because it pertains to everybody's needs. Because everybody's needs are different, so they got to pertain to every soldier's need. Barber shop, you can be a barber, all that stuff like that. You didn't want to come out the service being a machine gunner. We gonna find a job being a machine gunner. Right. So you got to use your mind. See, but if I had to do it all over again, sure, I'd do it all over again. Yeah, I sure would. Plus, the pay is better. Instead of getting $363.10 a month, an average soldier right now I'm getting something close to like $1,500, close to $2,000 a month. This is without children.
Okay.
See, and while I was in there, and the reason I got out at 15 years because I developed rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
And I couldn't perform my job the way I had to perform my job because we would have 100-pound sacks, backpack, rifle, helmet, boots, walking 10, 15 miles. It's a lot of strain and stress on your body. And I couldn't handle my responsibility because I was suffering from a debilitating disease. So I had to get out the service. And that would cut my career short, being in the service.
Okay. So now, does like the government or whatever offer like anything? Are they supportive to you now?
Oh yeah.
You being a
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, when you get out the service, nothing changed. Only thing changed is the uniform.
Okay.
Now instead of having uniform, they got on suits. See, you still have to follow the chain of command, which is it comes from the top all the way down to the little man. If you use your chain of command, if you it clears up a whole lot of red tape. You know, you don't know what you go, but you just follow those certain steps. Go to this superior, that superior, and walk the chain all the way up till you get all the way to the top. When you find the head man, see, then that will take care of everything. They are supportive me medically, educationally. They have a lot of support groups. It's nothing that I don't need right now that they don't have for me.
Okay.
If there's something that I need, housing, clothing, those nature like that, there's always something there for the government to give me. I'm entitled to it. I serve my country.
Right.
And if they don't give it to me, there you go, you fall back to the chain of command. See, a lot of people have all this at their hand, at their disposal, and don't use it.
Don't use it.
And then they worry about why they can't get ahead. That's why it's there. Use it, or you'll do what? Lose it. That's right. That's what you got to do. And I've seen, not just pick on white people, I see a lot of white boys take that, what the government give them, and use it. I'm telling them, go to school, buy brand new houses, cars, living good. And I've seen a lot of blacks get caught up into drinking, getting high. Now it was a whole lot of drugs where I was at. That's the temptation you got not to go on and try to follow. It was certain groups that you had to run with to be one of the boys. See, but that drug scene wasn't me, because that what happened to 95% of them. They get hooked up on drugs and everything. They come home, they ain't got nothing. They right on the street.
Right.
They stand up there now with signs saying homeless, stuff like that. Oh no, they had a lot of opportunity. It's still there for them to use, but they got caught up. See, that's why I'm saying you got to be focused. Do what you've been told, and the education is out there for you to get. Only you got to do is prepare yourself, because that's what you want. You don't want to be, stagnated, just sitting there and ain't doing nothing. And like I said, it's experience, and you have all the opportunity in the world at your disposal. If you don't want to use it, somebody else will.
Right.
So matter of fact, I still use mine now. I got out of service in 1987, and as of today, I still use my GI Bill.
Okay.
Oh yeah, now it's they have a pamphlet, a federal government book, how you can get free government loans, free housing, send your children to school, don't have to pay nothing. That's if you want it.
Right.
See, it's starting to get more diverse now. See, mostly with this, like I said, black and white now. It's Latin Americans. You have Middle East people joining the service, people from the Middle East, all over the country and everything. But you know about the American citizens. But I'm saying the opportunities are out there for you to use, and I use them right now today.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Sure.
Thank you.
That's no problem.